everyone, this is Sumayya Begum from IT Department of Lord's Institute of Engineering and Technology. Here we are going to see about the concept of applets in Java programming. So this would be divided into two parts. Part 1 would be consisting of the theory and the part 2 will show you the execution of the applets. So today we are going to cover about the topics applets in Java. Before going to see the applets, I want to let you know about the concept of packages. So we'll briefly go through the packages. What is a package in Java? Package is nothing but is a mechanism that groups together all the classes and interfaces based on their, and this grouping has been done based on their functionality. That means all the similar classes will come under one package and all the interfaces of the same similar interfaces will come under one package. So here, this for example, if you see this one, engineering is a one package, right? Under that engineering we could have sub packages. Sub packages is nothing but a package which is inside another package. So if you see here, if I'm taking an example of engineering as a package, then all the sub branches like CSE, IT and all will work it as a sub packages. Okay. One of the advantage of using packages is that we can avoid the naming conflict. That means it prevents naming conflict. So for example, naming conflict means what? Java has a rule that classes and interfaces with the same name cannot appear in the same package, but it can appear in the different package. So here for example, we have seen engineering as a package. That means sub packages would be IT, CSE. So each IT will have a section A as well as CSE will have a section A. So if I want to refer it, I can refer it as engineering, the main package dot, using the dot operator I can access the sub package IT. Then using the dot operator again IT dot then the section A. That this section A particularly refers to the section class of IT package. And in the similar way, I can also write engineering dot CSE dot section A. This section A will refer to the section of the class of CSE. So this is one of the way, and it also helps us to organize our classes and interfaces in a folder structure where we can easily locate it, use it. Apart from that, it also help us in code reusability. Now, what is code reusability means? If you're writing a code which is already written, you have to use this again and again. Why? What is the need to write again and again? When we can reuse it using the package has plenty of classes. So whichever the class you want that to be implemented in your program, just import it, just use it. Okay, now moving to the next slide, that is also part of introduction. Here, Java platform provides enormous class library that includes like set of packages, and we refer to it as API. This class library is also called as API. API is nothing but application programming interface that help us two different software to communicate with each other. So Java has plenty of classes. Java has plenty of classes which is present inside this API. And if you see, why do we use this one? As it is written here, it helps us to communicate. If your application wants to communicate with the database, then you need an API, then you need a package which will provide the classes that will let your program to communicate with the database. Apart from that, apart from easy in order to perform the input output operations, for that purpose also we need a package. Which provides the input output classes so that our program can easily accept the input and after processing it produce the outcome, that is the output. Okay, guys, if you want to know more about the packages and all, we have given a link in the description. Click on that one, it will lead to the page. There you can find the packages which will contain the different classes. It would be better if you go through it. So Java platform has come up with this, that it has divided the packages into two categories. One is the built-in packages, another one is the user-defined packages. So in the next slide, we are going to see the built-in packages. Now built-in packages, if you see the diagram over here, the Java is the main package. It's like a container which contains all the sub-packages. So Java is the main package here. This is a built-in package. It is also called as predefined packages, or it is also referred to as Java API. So don't get confused if either one of the name is going to appear. Okay, so we will see briefly about all the packages one after the other. First one is the java.lang language package. This language package supports to all the primitive data types, and it is the like a by default package. You need not to import it will be by default imported by the compiler, and it contains like it helps us to do all the it helps us to manage all the primitive data type operations. Apart from that, it has another package is the util package. Utility, it is like how we are accessing it means java.util, because Java is the main package. After that, using the dot operator, I'm accessing the util package, which is help us, which will support. See, if your program wants to communicate or have some wants to implement data structure concept, then you need to use the utility package, which will provide all the data structure concepts such as array list, linked list, vector and all. Apart from that, it is also help us to implement date and time and calendar. If you want your application to produce some sort of date or go to the show the time and all, that time we need to use the utility package. Now the next package is java.awt. AWT stands for Abstract Window Toolkit. This package supports the graphical user interface. When you're building an application, you want graphical user interface, it's required to interact with user. So it provides all the components such as label or button and all, where you want to build an application, right, which will be freely what do we say, it could be easily interactive, easily it would be interactable with the user. That time we can go with this AWT package. Now the next one is the java.net. Net stands for networking. It will support all the networking operations. So it contains such as classes such as sockets, server sockets and all. It will help us to communicate, it help your program to communicate with the networking concepts. Okay, another one is here mentioned is Java input output. This is the most frequently used package, because what happens is whenever we are writing a program, we need some sort of input from the user. So how to accept that input? By using this input output package, there is a class such as input stream, which will provide you the number of classes. One of them is like a buffer reader class. Using that buffer reader class, you can accept the input from the user, and after accepting it, you need to process it, write the logic for it, and then produce the outcome. The result would be given in the form of a output. That would be, again, we need to use the package input output package, and that there is the output stream classes that will help us to display the output to the user. And this is a frequently system.in, which is used for accepting the predefined class, which is used for accepting the input from the user through a keyboard. Okay, and if you want when you are displaying your output to the console, that time we need to go with the user system.out class. That will be helpful for us to display the output on the console. Now the last package is left is java.applet. This applet package helps us to create the applet programs. So now we have seen about the built-in packages. Now you might be wondering about the user-defined packages. Java has given you the capability to write your own package. So you can create your own package, right? There are certain ways to create it. As I'm dealing with the concept of applet, so we are not going in depth to that one. Now here, as I said, like applet, applet is we can say that using the applet class, you can write a small program that could be embedded inside a web page to make it a dynamic one, to create a dynamic web page. So if website is nothing but a collection of web pages. So inside that one of the web pages, you can embed the applet code. For that, you need to call the package applet, use the class applet, and then write the code which you want to be displayed. Okay, using this one, And we need to remember that applet run inside a web browser. Applet run inside a web browser. It is not like our console program, console based programs. It has to be run inside the web browser. Then you can embed the photographs, you can embed videos, audio, you can play sound, you can play some sort of animation, or you can draw some sort of figures and all inside the applet. Okay, once again I'll repeat, like for the confusion, don't get confused. Applet is the smallest package in Java which contains only one class. The name of the class itself is an applet. Using that applet class, you can write a small program. You can call it as also internet based small program, which would be embedded inside one of the web page, and that embedded inside one of the web page, and you can use it for various purposes. Java has two different sort of programs. One is the standalone application, another one is applets. So here in the next slide we are going to see the difference between Java application and the applets. So do you remember, like whenever you're writing a program, when you're after compiling it, your programs will become error free. So after that your program will start executing from the main method, right? All the standalone application has the main method, but when it compares to applet doesn't have any main method. Instead of main method, applet has a init method. So the starting of the program will start from the init method, as it is mentioned in the point number 3. If you can see, entry point is in the standalone application, entry point is the main method, whereas entry point in the applet is the init method. Now whenever we are writing a program, for a standalone application, do we require any sort of internet? No, right? Without internet also we can write the program, right? But like when compares to applet is running inside a web browser. It is part of a web page. That means without any internet connection it will not run, it will not execute. Even though your code is work, it is fine, but it doesn't work. So the next point, it is a standalone application. That means it is purely written in Java and it is independent and it can run it on its own. But applet is the part of a web page. When the web page is being opened, then only your applet will start working. Okay, and the next one is it can be the standalone application can run without web browser. As I said, it doesn't require any sort of internet connection, so it doesn't require a browser as well. Whereas when comes to applet is a part of a web page. It requires internet connection, so does it requires a web browser, because it is running inside the web browser, right? Web page is nothing, website is nothing but a collection of web pages. So whenever we are in order to open that website, we need a browser. When we are opening the web browser, and then only this Java applets will run. Apart from that, we need a browser which is Java compatible browser. That means Java, it supports all the Java plugins, then only your applet will work. Now coming to the next point, it uses the input output classes. Most frequent like our standalone application will uses many packages, but one of the most frequently used packages is the input output package, in order to take the input from the user, process it, and then return it in the form of an output. Whereas applet uses in order to produce a graphical user interface content, it uses AWT package. And here, as we already discussed about this entry point is the main method. Here the entry point is the init method in the applet. Now the next line is Java application is purely console based application. That means it can be compiled and run and execute on the console. Whereas it uses, as it is supporting the graphical user interface, you can execute, you can run through by creating an HTML page, or the Java has come up with the its own console, name it as a applet viewer tool. In that one also you can run the applet programs. Okay, I hope you have understood about the applets. Now moving on to the next slide, we are having the life cycle of applet. Here life cycle of applet is maintained by Java plugin software. Okay, now if you see this, there are 5 methods available here. When you focus on the diagram, see, when we are creating, when we are writing the applet for the first time, it would be in the initial state, that is the newborn state. Then it comes to the when it where it is there in the newborn state, but when you want to move it, you want to run it, then using the start method, it will come into the running state. Running state is nothing but where the logic of the program has been written. Then it will start executing it. As I said, it is a part of a web page. The moment the user is there on that web page, it will be running. The applet is running automatically by itself. But the moment when the user is moving from one slide to another, I mean like one tab to another, that time the applet will get into the pause state. Okay, and this plugin software would call the stop method and make the applet in the pause state for a certain period of time, until unless the user comes back to the previous page. Then it will be resumed back using the start method. Okay, then that we also call it as that pause state as the idle state. And the moment the user is clicking close button on the browser, coming out of the browser, then this particular applet would be removed. Okay, so now we are going to see each of this method individually in detail in the next slide. We are seeing about the details of this method. See here, as you can see on the screen, this init method that we also call as initialization state. Inside this init method, this is the first method of the life cycle of an applet, and it will be called only once. Remember that it will be called only once during the life cycle of an applet. If you see the syntax, this is how we need to write. We need to make this init method a public. Okay, public, using that public access modifier, we have to make it as a public so that it has the visibility rule to all, and then it doesn't return any sort of numerical value, so we are writing the void return type. So here public void init, and then using then initialization, whichever the variable you want to initialize, which later you want to use it in the program, that could be done over here. In the next state is the running state. This running state, inside that there is a start method. If you see the start method, this particular method would be in comparatively would be called or invoke after the init method. And this as compared to the previous method, this method would be called again and again. Whenever we are resuming the applet, that time this method would be called. Suppose for an example, as I have given earlier, if the user is moving from one tab to another tab, means like from one web page to another web page, this particular applet would go into the halt state, right? For it to be resumed back, come into the running state again, we need to make use of the start method. Using the start method, it will be resumed n number of times. Okay, the next method. Now moving on to the next slide, and the next method, that is the stop method. Now when the stop method is used for halting, it means like whenever we use this stop method, our applet would be stopped for certain period of time, and you can write the code for it using the syntax here. As you have seen, all the applet methods, all 5 methods are being declared as public, and the return type is void. The same goes with the stop method. You can write the code for how much time, how long you want your applet to be stopped for a certain period of time, that you can mention over here. And the last that state is nothing but whenever the user is clicking. See, stop method would also work on that when the user is minimizing the window, not only moving from one tab to another, user will minimize the window, right? That time also stop method will work. Now when the user is closing only, I mean like completely shutting down the web browser, that time the destroy method will invoke, and that means the Java plugin will decide that this applet will not be there, no longer in the memory, the cache, and it will be removed, it will be completely terminated. For that, you can write the code over here inside the destroy method. Now moving on to the next method, that is the paint method. Paint method is used to write the logic of the program. Here logic of the applet means what you want your applet to perform. You want your applet to show some sort of figures, or you want your applet to play some sort of animations, audio something, some sort of sounds and all. That time you can write the logic inside the paint method. And if you can see, all the parameters were empty, but here inside the paint method there is a graphics class. So this is the predefined class which is present inside the AWT package. So whenever we are writing the applet program, we need to make use of the AWT package, because this all sort of things are present inside the graphic class, where we can write the logic in our applet program. Now I would like to ask some questions based on the slides. The question number 1 would be, which is the smallest package available in Java? I know you know, but answer it. The next is question number 2, which package is used for performing the input-output operations? Question number 3, which package help us to implement the data structure concepts? Okay, question number 4 would be, when we are writing the program for graphical user interface, which package do we need to implement? The last one, 5th question, is which package we need when we want our application to connect with the database? Okay, comment it down your answers and let me see how many are correct. If you want me to take any session based on any particular topic, then do let me know in the comment section. Write the topic name and I would definitely go through it. Last but not least, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you like it. And so do subscribe to our channel so you can follow various videos here, video lecture series, so that will be definitely helpful for you. Okay, thank you once again.